historically engineering, they just done drawings or the CAD work. Now they're expected to take the project from conceptual design all the way through to customer. So that's a big
question. So what advice would you give to your younger self, especially when you were just starting out in engineering?
I think the biggest thing I'd probably advise would give myself is it's okay to ask questions. When I first started off an engineering role, when you come to uni, you kind of want to give the perception to your mentors or the senior engineers that you kind of know what you're speaking about. And sometimes you feel a little bit embarrassed to ask questions. And what I would say is, for any kind of junior engineer starting off into a new role, is to definitely ask questions. Even if you're unsure about anything, just put your hand up. It's not embarrassing. We've all been there before. And you will learn a lot more from doing that. Probably another big one, which we've had a few juniors starting with us, is try and get a senior mentor within the group. Okay. So looking at people who have been in the business for a long time or have had engineering experience for a long time, and shadow their meetings, just be copied in on a few of their emails with regards to suppliers, on technical meetings, and just listening to the way they conduct themselves with kind of suppliers and dealers and customers, really. That's probably the two of the biggest things I would have said was to my younger self is just be bold, ask questions. There's nothing wrong with that.
I completely resonates with me, the question, to be honest. I've got a bit of a cheesy motto, but the only stupid question is the one not asked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
Cool. Next question, looking back, what skills or knowledge do you wish you had developed earlier in your career?
So this is one I was thinking about. And, when I first started coming in out of university, obviously 3D packages were pretty high up on kind of the CVs and what employers are asking for. But I think more now kind of FEA analysis, definitive element analysis is now playing a massive role within the whole industry. So developing products throughout. So obviously I'm in the furniture industry. And we can gain a lot of upfront knowledge on how the parts or the assemblies are going to perform under load and stress. And, that also allows us to trial various materials, various material grades before we've even shot parts. So, we worked on a recent project where we were trying to replicate a steel part but using plastic instead. So the rib design was a massive kind of feature in that, in improving the strength of the part by using plastic instead of actual steel. And I think the more projects go on now, people are going to start investing in this more because it's a free trial, for instance. So you get to do the front up testing without actually having to lay any tooling down, which is a big plus. So there's no I know there's cost to the software and there's cost to the training, but it does save a lot of time in the long run. And probably another area that I'm seeing more and more engineers doing is project management, or at least managing projects. When historically engineering, they just done drawings or the CAD work. Now they're expected to take the project from conceptual design all the way through to customer. So that's a big thing that we've definitely learned in Orangebox, and doing project management is another crucial area, and it will help massively with the engineer deal with internal and external stakeholders. And I do wish I developed that further much earlier in my career, because it would have helped a lot with dealing with projects and that kind of aspect, really.
Do you think that's something that might be lacking in university courses?
Yes, absolutely. Because it's all technical. And, the interaction between customers, clients, problem solving, the things you learn in project management courses, there's free ones you can just do, and it enhances you so much more. And you can see that when we send some of our engineers on these courses, it's kind of instant, because you are doing the training on an actual live project. The actions are actually being done straight away. So no, it's I would definitely recommend that it needs to be introduced into university courses as well. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much. So next question, reflecting on your career, what's one mistake that ended up being a major learning experience for you?
I had a good think about this one. So one significant mistake in probably my engineering career was underestimating the importance of thorough documentation.
Okay.
Early on, I rushed through documentations on a project, thinking it was a minor task that could be done later on. And then when issues arose and the team members needed to understand my design decisions, the lack of clear documentation made it very challenging for everyone else in the company. So supply chain, production, and those kind of areas that we have to interlock with. And this experience has kind of taught me that good documentation is crucial, not just for clarity, but also for future maintenance and knowledge of transfer knowledge in between, looking at old projects and how we can do lessons learned on that. And since then, I've kind of prioritized documentation in my work thoroughly. Also seeing it as an essential part of the engineering process rather just an afterthought. I'll do all the upfront CAD work and then I'll go back and do the documentation. So this shift has not only improved the team collaboration, but also enhanced the overall quality of the projects when they're kind of signed off. So it's not
a lot of engineers.
Yeah,
exactly what I was going to say. It's not the glamorous part, is it? It's
not the pretty part, unfortunately.
Cool. So engineering fields can be tough. What's the most challenging point in your career, and how did you overcome it?
So it's probably the first project I worked on in Orangebox. Obviously, coming into a furniture industry, didn't think there was much engineering required. I thought, it's just a chair, for instance. Yep. But the amount of engineering that goes into these products is vast. So, one of the first projects I worked on was the Ep1 project, which is a project that's been in the field for, I think, about 6 years. And there was a challenging scope for a certain section. So the arm design was being, the scope set for it was unachievable, and was putting a lot of pressure on not just myself, but also our suppliers and the team on basically setting tolerances that weren't achievable. Okay. And it got to a point where we kind of, I think I went through roughly 200 different iterations of tolerances, stacks, different machining profiles, material changes. And it got to a point where the supplier said, look, we can't do any more. We are at our limitation. So, that was the biggest challenging point. And then to overcome this, I spoke to my manager before the meeting, stating that if they do reject this latest design and sample, that we really need to push back and either state, right, this is what is achievable, or we have to push back and say that we have to totally redesign the part. Technically we couldn't do anything more from reducing tolerances, experiment with various materials and trialing all different lubrications to make the part function correctly. But yeah, like I said, to overcome it, we gave the board two options. We launch with the latest sample, and if they aren't happy with it, we push it out for 6 months. I look to redesign the whole part. But this was a delay to the project, which obviously means a delay to the sales. So that obviously had to be weighed up by our sales team. But by me doing this, I overcome this issue by giving the senior team options. They could evaluate rather than just going back around that kind of vicious circle saying, yeah, we can make it better, we can do it better. We've done that too many times. So sometimes pushback to the senior team is good. As a junior engineer, you don't want to be pushing back, but you need to learn. Yeah, it is absolutely daunting. I remember the first time I had to present to the board, there's 15 people who've been in the business for 20 years. The owners are there, it's really daunting, but, you have to trust your instincts sometimes, and they respect it more when you do push back on your expertise. So yeah, and, don't just do it off your own back. Ensure that you got your backing of your manager. But yeah, I say just back yourself is a big thing to overcome this.
How have your experiences influenced how you manage teams now, or manage your team?
I think they've kind of significantly shaped my approach to mentoring and managing teams. I've learned that empathy and open communication is key. I prioritize kind of creating an environment where team members feel safe in sharing their ideas and concerns with regards to projects or just the workplace. I kind of encourage feedback and make it clear that every voice matters. So like we said at the start,
Yep.
don't be afraid to say something.
Speak up.
Exactly that. And with that mentality in mind, it kind of fosters a culture of collaboration, which is absolutely critical when it comes to design and engineering, in my opinion. And kind of additionally, I also focus on individual strengths and tailoring. In my team, we've got various levels of engineers, and within that, they have strengths in different areas.
Yep.
So my mentoring to each person is different. I kind of aim to provide support that aligns with their goals, whether that means offering technical solutions or advice or career development tips, or simply just being kind of a sounding board for their ideas, really. But yeah, that's a big thing that's definitely kind of I felt that I put forward to help managing teams, but then also pushed for importance of work-life balance. I think that's massive, especially in the current market. Understanding firsthand how burnout can affect projects and morale. If you're doing silly hours and you're not getting anywhere, then it can completely kind of drain you. I encourage my team to take regular breaks, celebrate achievements when we get big sign off on projects. Send a big email congratulating them, and just maintain a healthy workload. We have weekly meetings with our teams, and we ensure that they're not overloaded. I think that's a big thing now. Some people don't like to say no, and sometimes
Definitely.
That's fine. But you need to step back and think, right, yeah, I want to make a good impression, but I am completely burning out.
Okay.
So